Right, there's nothing I like more than a bargain. Seriously, every day I am on Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Reverb. Not so much Reverb, because people know what they've got on Reverb. But Facebook Marketplace, I am looking for a bargain. And, over the years, I have had some cracking little bargains. I really have. I can remember I got an Ovation, I can't remember which model it was, but an Ovation electroacoustic guitar in the original case from the 80s, and I think I paid like 80 quid for it. I was so happy. But yeah, I've had some bargains on Facebook Marketplace, but I think this one takes the biscuit. I didn't get this. I'm not the man mentioned in this article, by the way. Man buys John Lennon's old Fender guitar amp on Facebook Marketplace for barely $4,000. Let's do this. So yeah, some lucky old so-and-so has managed to buy one of John Lennon's old Fender guitar amps for barely $4,000. I mean, you couldn't make it up. The 1960s Fender Deluxe had been passed on to songwriter Rob Linton as a thank you for working on Lennon's iconic 1971 record, Imagine. I was just going to say, imagine that. I mean, whether you're a Lennon Beatles fan or anything, that's not why I love the Beatles, and I'm a John Lennon fan. I'll hold my hand up. I'm guilty, but yeah, I mean, it's just imagine finding something like that. Imagine there's gonna be a lot of imagine jokes, and I apologise in advance. Imagine copying a 1960s Fender Deluxe on Facebook Marketplace for under £3,000. I mean, you'd already be pretty satisfied, absolutely. But what if that amp turned out to be a priceless piece of Beatles history? That's exactly what happened to 45-year-old James Taylor when the father of two was picking up his purchase. The seller alleged that the Fender amp was previously owned by John Lennon. They told me it might have been gifted to somebody by John Lennon, but I've heard these stories before and I didn't pay much mind, he tells Manchester Evening News. Yeah, I mean, I'd definitely be doing some digging. However, after some digging, Taylor started to believe the seller's claims. Taylor discovered that the Facebook seller did have some ties to Lennon. The seller was friends with Rob Linton, a songwriter and guitarist who worked with Lennon on his 1971 album, Imagine. All the people. Taylor reached out to Linton to confirm whether the amp was once Lennon's, and Linton confirmed that it was. In fact, Linton went so far as to handwrite Taylor a certificate of authenticity as proof. My friend Mal Evans, who was the Beatles roadie and general factotum for many years, initially loaned me this amplifier for recording purposes, Linton writes. He advised me that this amp was John's. I mean, if anybody's going to know, it was Mal Evans. For those of you who don't know who Mal Evans was, he was kind of like the Beatles roadie, gopher, bodyguard. If you ever watched the Let It Be documentary, the big three-parter one, you regularly see Mal moving about. He was like the big fella with glasses. In 1971, I was invited to play on John Lennon's Imagine album. The certificate continues. Following the recording sessions, I was with John and I mentioned that I'd been loaned the Fender amplifier by Mal Evans, as I required a smaller amplifier than the ones I owned at the time. I asked John if I should bring the amplifier to his home or return it. He responded, "No thanks, very much." No, thanks very much for all the work you've done on the sessions. Don't worry about bringing it back. You can keep it. It's yours. I mean, just to be able to, say that you've worked with John Lennon, to have contributed to his body of works would be a big enough thing. But he's giving you free amps. It doesn't get much better, does it? While Taylor was already happy with his new amp, the news had just made the purchase even sweeter. I bought the amp because I wanted the amp, and I didn't pay John Lennon sort of money for it, he tells Manchester Evening News. When all the details started checking out, I realised I had something very exciting on my hands I wasn't expecting at all. Now, I haven't read the rest of this article, so I'm not quite sure what goes on. But jump in the chat and let me know. Would you sell this amp straight away with the John Lennon extra price tag on it? Or would you keep it knowing that you had a piece of Beatles history in your very own hands? Jump in the chat and let me know. One of the earliest listening experiences was my parents introduced me to Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band at a young age, and now I have John Lennon's amp, which is crazy to think about. According to Taylor, the amp still plays and sounds fantastic, and he's already used it for some band practice sessions. What? I'm not being funny. If I had that amp, it would not be leaving the house. It would be behind barbed wire. Although he does admit he might have been a bit more cautious had he realised the historical importance of the piece of gear. Alright, so he's probably used it at the band practices before he realised it was John Lennon's amp, or before he confirmed it. Looking forward, Taylor is hoping to further investigate what tracks Lennon might have used the amp on. He's also thinking he might sell on the piece, as it would be scary for him to have something so valuable in the house. There are many parts of me that wish I could hold on to it, but it is a risk to keep it in a house with toddlers rushing around, the father of two admits. Right, number one, if I was in that position, I'd just get rid of the toddlers. Toddlers gone. Or leave them at one of those wacky warehouse things, you know, with the ball pit and stuff. They'll be fine. You ever seen Home Alone? That worked out all right. Would you sell it? Would you keep? I don't know. I suppose it all depended on how badly you needed the money, and obviously the dude's, you know, a father of young children, so the money might come in very useful. I mean, but personally, I wouldn't be able to sell it. But as far as tracking down what tracks you could use it on, I mean, there's plenty of guys on YouTube. I can't remember the name of the channel. It's a brilliant channel. And, you know, he'll say, right, we're going to look at this Beatles album today. And, you know, he looks at old photographs and old footage and everything and figures out, you know, which guitars they used and which amps and stuff and, you know, any effects, and he'd be able to tell you exactly what songs, if any, that amplifier was played on. But yeah, that's a crazy story. So, I mean, whoa! I know Facebook's for nanas like this, but yeah, marketplaces, you know, sometimes it can turn up some real spanking bits of gear. So, you know, if you are a collector or anything like that, you know, it's kind of like an online, what's it called in America, thrift sale or car boot sale. I don't know. But yeah, always have a check on Marketplace, because there's always bargains to be found. Anyway, thanks for watching. Feel free to jump in the comments, let me know what you think about all of this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the video get out there into the algorithm, and Lord knows I need all the help I can get. If you want to help support the channel, I've got some merch for sale. I've also got memberships and super chats for sale. Any money raised from them goes towards the upkeep of the channel. Anyway, thanks again. Take it easy. Peace out.